Welcome to week 11 of the Toronto on Tilt football podcast. I'm Steve Artabello. I'm here with Anthony Harris and Theo Giordano. You can find us, you can find our website, torontoontilt.com. This video will be posted on YouTube. You can find at Toronto on Tilt. You can find us on Twitter at Toronto on Tilt. And you can find us on every major streaming platform, Toronto on Tilt. Like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We'll get right into it. I had a rough week. Yeah, I had 2 picks. Then just hell. And yeah, great. We'll get to it. Theo, get started.
Yeah, 2-1 or 2-3. So the hot streak is dead. Momentum's dead. The whole podcast lost, but
Not a great week.
Some awful fucking reads. I went 2-0 on totals and 0-3 on sides, so it was kind of the opposite of how my year's gone with totals and sides. But it was a weird week. The first one I'll get into, Tampa Bay, Carolina. That over 50.5 was easy winner. Very, very happy with how that went. Went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Carolina early on would be able to put some scoring pressure on them, even without McCaffrey. I think they got a takeaway early in that game that set them up for their first score. I might be wrong about that, but they were able to score early, and then Tampa after, just flexing offense on that bad defense, and that was a nice play. And it did close at 49.5, so there was under money that came in on Sunday for some reason, but it looked like over all the way.
I should have kept an eye on that because if it would have got down like that,
Yeah, I was kind of nervous, but then the way the game played out exactly as I thought it would. So then the next one is something that me and Steve are both on. Steve for the last time, me maybe the last time.
No, 100%. I'm done.
Seattle money line. It again, like Russell, the line kept moving against us the whole week. We kept looking. It kept getting more money in Seattle's or in Los Angeles' favor. People were betting the Rams. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, why is this going this way? I'm not seeing something. I got to stop overlooking the Rams defense. It's pretty legit. They're pretty thin, but they're very good. And Seattle, their defense didn't even play bad in the second half. They gave up no points in the fourth quarter. They only gave up 6 in the third. Pete Carroll, I have another gripe with. I can't even complain about it because I said it last week. The asshole comes out of halftime, 4th and 1. Does that fake snap bullshit, and then they take the penalty and punt. It was unbelievable. The Rams went down the field, scored right after. It's a coach you can't trust, and Russell Wilson is not playing well, and it's tough to back Seattle right now.
Yeah, he was an MVP candidate. We're talking about, the turnovers, that's not going to keep happening, and it kept happening. And DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey took him completely out of the game. He didn't exist. He's been one of the best receivers all year, and Jalen Ramsey was just like, nope. And Russ didn't even look at him.
Didn't even look at him.
Aaron Rodgers game with Richard Sherman back in the day where he didn't even look at Richard Sherman the entire game. That's basically what happened. And Russell Wilson is still one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league. But this is, you know why he doesn't have an MVP? But this shit. You know what I mean? And it's not really his fault. It's because he has to be perfect because that, at this point,
that one pick was fucking egregious. The one he threw across his body. He had the first down right there. It was before the 2-minute warning.
And he was wide open. And then, he threw it into the back of the end zone across his body, completely missed the wide open tight end.
15 yards, slide, go to the 2-minute warning.
And that's when I knew it was over. That's when I was like, nah, this. You know what I mean? I'm like, the bet's dead. It's completely dead. I don't care what happens from here on out. That was the moment.
And it's tough to back them right now, and I think his MVP chances are pretty slim. It's Patrick Mahomes.
That just killed it.
Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. It's not fun to say the same guy again, but he's the most valuable player. He's gonna probably win again, especially with what Russell's doing right now.
The only dark horse thing I could see is if Dalvin Cook somehow gets the Vikings in the playoffs because they have a really shitty schedule down the stretch.
They do.
Running backs don't win. They don't. But if they somehow made the playoffs, he would have to do something like average 200-plus rushing yards a game to do. He would have to do something insane. And because they don't play the best teams down the stretch, who knows? There's actually a chance.
He has to break. He has to get 2,000 yards.
Yeah, basically.
And he's been hurt.
It's just
possibility.
Well, when you look at the fact that like they're playing, let me pull up their schedule. It's something really.
They got Dallas this week, and like the next 3 weeks are a breeze.
This is what I mean. Hold on, let me pull this up. Because thank God I have Dalvin Cook in my keeper league. Because
and Kyler would be the other guy.
Do you think Aaron Donald or someone would have a better chance than him though?
This is what he's doing. This is who the Vikings play: Dallas, Carolina, Jacksonville, all at home. At Tampa, that's an issue. Chicago, New Orleans. That's fantasy season. I don't know who they play week 17, but like
he's a
good game against
Chicago. It would be like what, Chicago again?
Yeah. No, they play Chicago week 15. And like here's the thing. He missed the game and has already had his bye. He's got 950 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah, like you have to break a record. Kamara's the same situation. Like you could make that case for him.
Well, that's the thing. Like Kamara's the type of back where like Drew Brees is out, and you're like, James is going to turn the ball over more, but like just give the ball to Alvin Kamara, and you're probably going to be okay because he can do literally everything.
Yeah.
But we got a little bit off topic there. Fuck the Seahawks. Back to what you're talking about, Theo.
The next one, this is even better. The Arizona Buffalo over 53, which ended up getting bet up to 56. Everything hit there, no doubt with the over, even though Josh Allen did everything he could to throw that over away in the middle of the game. He was turning the ball over. That game got very stagnant. The Cardinals did not know how to score a red zone TD in the beginning of that game, but it turned around the over hit, and everyone here was happy with the result.
No, we weren't. No, we weren't, Theo. We're just going to get to this right now. Bills money line. Josh Allen leaves that drive. Touchdown. Stephon Diggs. Yes, there's 34 seconds left, but, Cardinals need a touchdown. Kyler's running around. Gets smashed. Throws the ball in the air. The three best DBs who were all Pro Bowlers and Trey White and Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are surrounding DeAndre Hopkins. It's 3-on when he got it. He got the football.
I almost texted Steve congratulations way too early, which would have been very, very mean thing to do. So I'm glad I didn't do that. But that was one of the worst beats of the year so far. Wait, I guess that's a bad beat. I would consider that.
Lose on that play.
Yeah,
is beyond. God, I don't even really want to get into it. Like, I'm not even going to go there. Like, I don't even have a fuck you of the week because that was ridiculous by DeAndre Hopkins. He, like, completely sunned the entire Bills secondary. But
would you rather lose like that or lose on the knee if you had Cardinals -2.5? What's worse? Because the excitement you feel after the TD, and then you don't even think they're not going to – you just assume, and then they don't. And
that kneel might have driven me. Yeah. Kneeling it out might have made me cry.
Yeah,
if I had the 2.5. And all the people that had the Browns, 3.5 when Chubb runs out at the 1 yard line. How many people just lost it on that?
That would.
I had him in fantasy, and I'm watching this. I'm sick. Look at this, and then he just runs out of bounds.
He's not Todd Gurley. He's not Todd Gurley. He doesn't play for the Atlanta Falcons. So
yeah.
Anyways,
they would have been up by 2 scores with
that was the right move. That was the right move.
No, that was the right move. That was the smart move. Nick Chubb, that was the play.
Yeah.
And just DeAndre Hopkins, just why, man? That's not cool. That's not cool. It's not fucking cool. But all right.
So the next game, this one was just a dead dog right away. The Cincinnati Bengals, who I was very high on. I talked a lot of good things about Cincinnati. I said how good Joe Burrow was coming back in games. The mismatch with Ben being hurt, and that was all bullshit.
On the COVID list, he was not only was he hurt, he was on the COVID list. There was just a bunch of problems.
Yeah, diseases and fucking injuries, and he looked so fresh. The thing was the Bengals fumbled the first punt.
Yeah.
They had a 3-and-out. I'm like, oh, perfect. This team's ready to play today. The offense still is going to be slow and stagnant in the beginning. And then they fumbled it. Held no field goal right after. And I was like, okay, maybe Cincinnati's going to – then just different animal. Pittsburgh did not overlook a divisional opponent. I overlooked a few things to justify that pick because the line is moving in my favor. I'm like, you know what? This is probably the right play. and it was nothing even close. So, at least they killed me quickly. That would have, it's not the huge. When they kill you quickly, it's fine. And then the last one I had was a teaser with the Ravens and the Bears. The Bears, half of it hit, but it didn't matter because the Ravens the night before were in a monsoon and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
The Baltimore receivers just continue to fucking look awful.
That game was ridiculous. Like, I guess Bill Belichick is a wizard. And like, first of all, he just controls the. When he doesn't have Tom Brady anymore, he just results to controlling the weather. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But yeah, they just ran the ball down the Ravens' throat. I think the real problem there was Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams not playing. Those guys are massive parts of the Ravens' defensive line. They're big-time run stoppers. That really hurt them, but I didn't think it was going to hurt them in that type of way. But then you also had a bunch of guys coming off the COVID list. You know what I mean? That didn't play before that. So who knows how that's affecting the defense, because it was Judon and it's Queen and it's literally their important defensive players. But yeah, it's still kind of unacceptable to lose that way to that Patriots team.
Yeah, and even with the offensive side of it too, it's just like, it's always been an issue. Lamar's still struggling to throw the ball. I know there was a little bit of a different situation there, but tough to not hit that. The Chicago side too. If my teaser did come down to Chicago covering the +8.5, that would have been very stressful because there was no chance of a touchdown on offense at least. Bill Lazor's somehow worse than fucking Nagy. It's unbelievable how bad that play calling is.
Nagy is very quickly looking like the type of fraud that Adam Gase is. Because Nagy was around Andy Reid, you know what I mean? He's such a great play caller. Andy Reid is calling the plays. Andy Reid designed the offense. It's Andy Reid's team. Why did anyone think this was going to work with Nagy? It's the same thing with Gase. It's like, he was around Peyton Manning. Like, he knew what he did. Peyton Manning did everything.
The same as Doug Peterson.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Doug Peterson.
Nah.
Dave, look, he's a fucking joke right now.
He's won a Super Bowl, but how's that looking right now?
He had a perfect storm thing, won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. He just, I'm not getting into that Eagles team right now, but they come into the bye with some of the worst play calling I've ever seen. It was awful. But
again, be the offensive guy. Like, that's why Nagy can't survive. You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? You have this last year. You had a historic defense. You lost some people, and the defense is still. Even though I was calling it shit, it's actually been pretty good. They had issues stopping the run early, and then they fixed that. And Danny Trevathan came back. That was really, you know what I mean? Like, we were talking about that. Like, does he play for them? Yeah, he's out. Okay, I guess that's part of the problem. And then he came back, and yeah, that was part of the problem. He's a great run-stopping linebacker. And that team is just, it's a great defense. And the offense is worse than it was last year. Like,
well, they got Kaiser Soze working out for them. So maybe that gets fixed.
The Kaiser, you mean Deshaun Kaiser?
Yeah, I thought that's what we called him.
See, everyone's saying Mitch is terrible. Mitch, get Mitch out of here. Problem solved.
Mitch was better than Foles.
Mitch was 3-0 as a starter.
Exactly.
Foles.
Yeah,
like, who said Mitch would have definitely had that Falcons comeback too? He would have done that. No question.
Oh. It's the offensive line. He's better at dealing with that. He's way more. Foles looks as slow as ever. Like, he can't move at all.
And he's now hurt. And Mitch is hurt. And it's just
Kaiser Soze saved the season.
Kaiser Soze. Oh God, yeah.
Anyways, that was mine. 2-3. I'm still up on the year. I'm up like 3-point-something units. So minor setback for major comeback.
Yeah, after getting back in the winning column, back at 500. This 0-2 hurt. Lost the Seahawks money line. Lost the Bills money line. Never betting the Seahawks again. And not cool, DeAndre. just not cool, man. Not cool. You had to just go ahead and sun the entire fucking secondary.
He dropped a nuke on your bet, Steve.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. God damn.
That's why we keep you around.
That's right.
Tony, how'd you do? At least you won.
Well, my fade card was a success. I don't know if you knew. 1 and 2. So if you took Indianapolis, they won, which was a good thing. My team won. But the other ones, Denver Broncos, did not cover, not even close. That's a loss. And then the other one was the Bears on Monday, another loss. So 1-2 on the fake card. So good week for me.
Well, bad week for you. Good week for
he's just figured out a way to win with not winning ever. Yeah. So I respect it.
Like you somehow managed to give him an out by trying to draw more attention to his losing. But I think we should still draw attention to this depending on what happens this week.
If you go 2-2, you're fired.
Okay. I'll try to lose then.
You either gotta win or lose. That's what's going on here.
I'll do what's been going on the last 3 weeks. Just keep the losing going.
Love it, Tony. Love it.
You can't try to lose. Sorry, you have to try to win because this is you lose. Your streak is based on you trying and thinking you're picking the right shit. You do researching, and that's when it fucks you. So you got to keep the process going so that people know that you're taking the right picks.
Of course.
Yeah, you're sullying the process, Tony.
Well, if I did that, if I said this team's going to lose for sure, they would win. So I should do that instead. Just blindly pick who I think's going to win.
Throw darts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have a fuck you of the week. I'm not going to give it to the Seahawks again or Russell Wilson or me betting on them again, even though I knew I shouldn't have. And I'm not going to give it to DeAndre Hopkins because that was actually too awesome of a play, even though it wasn't cool, man. Theo, you had one.
I had one. We kind of touched on it, though. It was the Bill Belichick's weather button is what the only thing I can give fuck you of the week to because everything else was.
Yep.
It's just it seems like he controls the world. He runs the world, even when it's not his year. People are backing on the Patriots, and Bill, he controls everything in that city, including the weather.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't know what's right. Like he's clearly made some sort of deal with the devil. He's sold his soul. I don't know what's happening. But Bill Belichick is the GOAT in any coaching profession. Tony, you also said you had one?
Yeah, it's more of an I'm disappointed in you of the week, really. It's Drew Lock. I'm sorry. He's the guy that I've been supporting through the thick and thin, but couldn't even get the garbage time right this week. It was 4 interceptions against the Raiders. He almost cost me a fantasy matchup. It's not cool, man. I'm not happy with Drew Lock right now. But that's okay. A rough hand dealt to him as far as coaching and whatever, but he's not playing well right now. And if he's injured, don't play. Just sit and get better.
Yeah, Tony hitting him with I'm not even angry at you. I'm just disappointed.
I mean, how do you throw 4 interceptions against the Raiders?
That's Drew Lock.
How do you even do that? Noah Fant I'm more upset with him. With that, he had a rushing touchdown called back. Because Noah Fant had the most unnecessary holding penalty probably I've ever seen in my life. He walked into the end zone and he's like hugging the guy in the secondary. Who was right there. And that changed the whole complexion of the game. It was a 1-score game at the time. And then Drew Lock threw an interception immediately afterwards. So.
And it was dead.
It really is Noah Fant's fault overall.
That overnight hitting was crazy. It seemed like they were in scoring territory the whole day, and it just nothing was going in.
Yeah, that was an ugly one. Well, rough week, but move forward, bounce back, move on, put that behind us. Theo, what are the bets looking like this week? We
got a lot of good line movement from my Twitter plays on Sunday night / Monday morning. Kansas City -7, something I liked right away before all this COVID stuff for the Raiders. And now it looks like the Raiders have their whole defense not practicing. Who knows how many of them are going to play or how many of them are going to be on the COVID list. But you get Andy Reid off a bye in a game where with Kansas City, my concern usually is, do they need the game? Are they really going to try to dominate this game? And in this situation against the Raiders, a team that's starting to win some games. What are the Raiders, 6-3 now?
Yeah. And they beat them.
And they beat them. This is a game. They're playing for the conference still. They're playing a team that's beat them. I think you're going to get everything from the Kansas City Chiefs, no matter who plays in the Raiders defense. And I think now you're probably going to lose the number. I'm going to guess it's going to open at 8.5, depending on who's out. Yeah. That could be a nice teaser. I know these public Sunday night teasers didn't go well last week with the Ravens, but that's a look, and hopefully you got it early because it did dip to -6 for half a minute, and I was a little nervous, we're going to see a lot of Raiders money this week, and then this all happened, and we saw it go back up, and now it's off the board. So wherever it opens up, maybe this would be a decent teaser look if you missed the original play. New England plus 2.5 was another early one I got before the Sunday night game, just because I thought the number was off. Houston shouldn't be favored against pretty much anyone in this league. It turned out well though with New England winning, with Cam looking better. The running game looked really good for the Patriots against a rush defense in Houston who refuses to tackle the running backs. Never seen so many missed tackles on a running back. They never tackle the running back on the first try, and I think in this game, Damien Harris is good enough. Cam's gonna have a good game on the ground, and the Patriots are still in the playoff hunt. Like the motivational factor in this game is very different. The Texans are lost, and New England, they still got a shot. So I expect them to come out, show out, and play well. And I would take that up to New England -3, even though the favorites have changed. I would still be comfortable with the price for New England right now. Tennessee +7. So this number was off before the Ravens game. I thought it was too high, and then after you saw what happened with their offense again reconfirming that the Ravens are not what they're supposed to be right now. Titans +7 is a good look. Again, their secondary is not good for Tennessee, but the passing offense of the Ravens, they got to show me something, and they haven't so far. The Ravens are on a look-ahead spot with Pittsburgh next week, Thanksgiving night. So this is a game where you can easily see them overlooking and Tennessee performing well and covering that spread. And you have Derrick Henry, who is a way better running back than Damien Harris, and you're going to look at that matchup and feel good about that.
Not to mention the line to the point where the Ravens are now, it's 5.5.
So I would take that down to +4. I think would be decent for the Titans, but anything that could also be another teaser look if it keeps going down. But I think it's still bettable now. I think the Titans are very live to win that game, and I'm okay with that at +5.5. Green Bay +105. I got the shitty number here. So this is what happens with these early looks. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. This one was bad, as some Indy money came into the market today. I was looking at this week to take Indy. Just with the way I was, without doing any research, just kind of like when I first glanced, like, Indy might be the play. I'm going to wait for the Packers money to come in. And then all this Indy money came in, and I'm just like, oh, shit, like, this is kind of weird. Didn't see this coming. And then I looked deeper into the matchup, looked into Green Bay, getting Lazard back, getting pretty much full, healthy offense at this point. And they're playing in a temperature-controlled place against a defense that's a little bit overrated. And if you look at what happened to Green Bay last week, we discussed this last week with the Jacksonville game, how I said I like the Jags, the heavy lean, +13.5. This is a team that they're going to overlook Jacksonville. They're playing shitty conditions. It's going to be a lot of running and not a high-scoring game. That's exactly what happened. And in this situation, I think it's complete opposite. You have a situation where the Packers will be trying to score a lot. They'll have the opportunity to. Against a team like the Colts, who have a good defense, but I don't think it's as good as we all thought it was earlier. And Rivers are going to have to start playing from behind, and that's where the mistakes come. So we'll see if he's able to not puke on himself this week. But I think against a Green Bay team that's going to be scoring at a decent clip, Green Bay's a nice look here, and you can get it a better number now, +110. I'll quickly go through the lot.
And there was a point where I know it was at least +115, maybe +120, and I don't know why I didn't jump on it. And yeah, like Theo was saying, like, I really like the Colts defense, but at the same time, getting Lazard back, having like a true secondary option to Devontae Adams, like, that's kind of scary. Like, Lazard has been practicing. I know he's still limited and they've activated him off IR, but by all means, he sounds like he's going to play and he's going to be ready to go.
And Adams did practice again today too, but I think he's also projecting to play.
Well, he's still catching like a million. You know what I mean? Like we're seeing how he's performing on game day. Like he's still going off.
We also know how cautious the Packers are with these injuries. So exactly. There is only with the Packers. If it was another team, you'd be kind of like whatever. But with Green Bay, they might just sit them just because. And we're still looking at Jair Alexander could be back. We don't know. If he is, that's a huge advantage for Green Bay.
Practicing in a limited capacity. He had there was a concussion issue and a hand injury, but he was back at practice. We should actually have the report any minute now about today's practice. But yeah, he was practicing in a limited capacity, and that's huge for them. So yeah, I jumped on them as well. Just thought every time I bet the Green Bay money line, it's worked out for me because like when they've been plus money. They managed to pull through. I trust Aaron Rodgers, and like Theo was saying, maybe Phil won't throw up on himself, maybe, I trust Aaron Rodgers won't more than I trust Phillip Rivers won't. You know what I mean?
Got a big divisional game next week with Indy, so I don't think they're overlooking Green Bay, but that is also a thing to consider. And last official play right now is Tampa Bay, New Orleans over 50.5. Jameis Winston's fucking back, which is I really wanted to bet New Orleans. I love Jameis. I think he's going to fit in well there eventually with New Orleans. You might see some hiccups in the beginning, but this offense allows him to not have to be a fucking hero. He might still try to do that anyway, but he doesn't have to be hucking the ball deep. He can use Kamara, use the short routes of Michael Thomas. Like, they're going to be a productive offense, and if he fits in well, if he buys in, I think he's going to be decent there. And I don't think he's much of a downgrade from Drew Brees. Like, we're going to see Atlanta money come in because of just that factor, but I don't know if Jameis is that much of a difference right now, if he's not being an asshole with the ball.
No, but this is the first time we're seeing him with vision. He was literally blind his whole career.
Okay, I hate that
point.
Because he was literally blind. He needs glasses, and he didn't wear them for years. And he finally got laser eye surgery. So now we're going to see the real Jameis.
Remember when Jose Bautista said that and then didn't make his comeback? Like that's a thing that happens in baseball too. Like it's I find it hilarious when guys say that because it's like, okay, yeah, let's see. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
Jameis, it was noticeable. You see him squinting nonstop. Every shot you see him on the sidelines, like all the time. It's a visible issue with him.
Teddy Two Gloves last year. Teddy Bridgewater was 5-0. He was really good running that Saints offense. Like, he had it humming. Like Theo says, how often does Jameis decide to be a hero? And how often does Sean Payton let him? How often does he call deep routes? This will be really interesting. Like, what type of offense do they call? And does Sean Payton maybe actually start pushing the ball because he has Jameis? Like, does that actually start happening? Like, I see what you're talking about, Theo, because there is a chance here that not only is he not as bad as Drew Brees, like, he might be a little bit better. Now, Jameis is going to turn the ball over more. Like, that is going to
Here's what I'm scared about for this over, because I'll talk about the Atlanta offense quickly. I think Ridley's going to play, and I think Kamara, who's also questionable, I think he's also going to play. Atlanta's been better offensively. I think they should be competitive in this game. But what concerns me about the over, the only thing that's keeping me, well, I already bet it, but the thing that kind of gives me some pause is if Jameis throws 2 picks early, and they're sitting there like, okay, Taysom, you run a fucking wildcat offense now, and we're going to have no explosive plays, then that would just kill it. But that's the one thing that could fuck it up.
They did that a lot. Like, there were a bunch of Taysom Hill running quarterback plays. There was a bunch of him as the wildcat quarterback where he's not throwing. That was a thing that happened when Drew Brees was pulled out of the game. And we don't know how long he's going to be out for. Broken ribs, collapsed lung, like, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? I would assume
40 years old, yeah.
Like, at that age, too, you know what I mean? That's a thing. So we'll see. And it's going to be fascinating to see what they are with Jameis. You know what I mean? Like, and how Sean Payton approaches this and what they do with Taysom. So
they've had a full week and they're playing a bad defense. Like, this should be a good spot where you get Jameis in there, you get him feeling good. But there is the devil Jameis that can just steal everything from you and make you regret everything quickly. So we'll go with the over now. But it's not my most confident play, but I'm on it and I'm betting it. And I'll run through the lanes quickly. Washington -1. Again, defense still continues to grade out well. They're like top 7 DVOA. Getting good win rates on pass rush and running defense. I might sell up to the -2.5 if I do play it because you get some better odds there and better money. But I'm not on that as of now. Jacksonville +10 was something that Steve will get to later, but I don't know if I'm going to end up playing it. I think I might have talked myself kind of out of it. This would have just been a fade on the Steelers looking ahead of them. And considering that it's tough I did that last week, and I don't really want to do it again. So I might not be on that. And then I got to lean on Miami -3.5 and Minnesota -7. Looking at some teasers with the Packers as well on top of the money line. So we'll see what comes out of that. Look for the blog for the official plays. But those 5 that I listed earlier are official right now.
Yeah, so I have Green Bay's money line, like I said, +110. I just think Aaron Rodgers is going to get it done in a dome. If Allen Lazard is back, like, there are so many things kind of going in their favor. Like, Aaron Jones is not on the injury report anymore. He's a full go. Jamal Williams, like, Their whole running back room is back, that they like to run the ball. And yes, the thing that scares me is the Colts defense has been really good, but they haven't faced anything like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams yet. You know what I mean? And they shred everyone. It doesn't matter who it is. And if you give him Lazard, if Tonyan can be an option, and the one thing that Indy doesn't do great, the only thing defensively they don't do great is running backs catching the ball against them. And if the Packers do that, because Jamal Williams is used as a wide receiver when they lost all the wide receivers, and Aaron Jones has been really good out of the backfield, like that could be a problem, and that's another reason why I like them. Theo was talking about a lean with the Jags. I somehow got them at plus 10.5, plus 105. I think it's a mistake. Theo's kind of convinced they're going to cash me out. I don't think he's wrong, but we'll see how long this lasts for. It's currently minus 10.5, minus 110. I was talking to Theo about it because I wanted to take it minus 10 at plus 105. But here we are. I somehow have it. I still have it. While I have it, I'm going to talk about it. The Steelers, against the Cowboys, didn't look great. Then they crushed the Bengals. They had that division opponent. They put the hammer down, even though we were like, ooh, Joe Burrow, he covers, at the same time, you got Ben on the COVID list and the 2 knee injuries, and who knows what's going to happen. And they came out and smashed them. With the fact that they play the Ravens on Thanksgiving, the fact that that's a look ahead for them, the fact that for some reason this Jaguars team just sticks around. It just does. You know what I mean? Whether it's Gardner Minshew, whether it's Luton, whether they somehow stick around. Doesn't matter that they trade all their good players. Doesn't matter that we think they're tanking. The undrafted running back is actually really good, even though he's limited in practice. 10.5, I think they can cover that. And I think that this could be that Steelers game where they do let the foot off a little bit because they crushed the division opponent. They feeling good about themselves after obliterating the Bengals. And who knows? And here's the thing. The Jags can still lose by 10 and I can still hit this. It's the fact that I think the Jags can just stick around. I think they'll be around. And this is too many points, I think, for the Steelers to cover by.
Yeah, the one thing, the Jags have been getting a lot of fluky plays. They've gotten a few special team touchdowns the last couple of weeks, and I'm just nervous that they're going to shut up. They could get shut out this week. That's the concern. Looking at the Steelers' defense is playing the way they want to, they could shut this team out. Remember at scoring 13 points, but I understand your logic. I don't know if I'm going to be on you with that, but I support your decision there, and the number you got it at with the price you got it at is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a risk. This is definitely a risk. But at the same time, the Jags just have this weird way of just being in games. And I'm putting a bit too much faith on something I can't quantify. But this would feel like the type of game that a Mike Tomlin coach team would lose in a 15-1 season. You know what I mean? There's too many things that are just weird gut feels about this game. Aside from the fact that if you look at the numbers, they do seem to stick around teams. There's also just a bunch of gut feeling things in this that I just kind of like. And then to get that kind of, I guess, fuck up in the number where I got it at 10.5, it was kind of the extra thing where I was like, well, at this point I'm jumping on it. You know what I mean? I was kind of on the fence and it's well, now I'm doing it. The other play that I got that I'm feeling even better about now is Miami minus 3.5 and minus 105. Drew Lock might not play. And when we were talking about this before, I don't think Theo thinks there's a huge difference between Drew Lock and Rick Rippon.
Makes zero difference except for maybe garbage time.
That's the thing. And if he doesn't play, I think this line's going to move even more. Just because when you look at that, Rick, it's not going to look good. You know what I mean? For the casuals, they're going to start betting Miami, I believe, just because Tua's look good. And yeah, I know they're at Mile High, but it's not supposed to snow and it's not supposed to be below 0. It's actually supposed to be 10. Right now, apparently it's 19 in Denver.
10 Celsius, but we're Canadian.
No. I'm talking
use that bullshit Fahrenheit.
10 Celsius. I have no idea what the fuck it is in Fahrenheit.
I'm going to say 55.
Whatever.
Sure.
But it could be freezing. You know what I mean? It's sweater weather. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Tua could throw on a sweater. Yes, he's from Hawaii. Yes, he played at Alabama in the South. Yes, it's the Miami Dolphins, and everything should be this isn't great, but it's not frigid weather. It's not going to be snowing. That would be a big difference for me. But the fact that it's not actually going to be frigid, it takes a little bit away from me. And just the way that Tua and that Dolphins offense has been rolling, I think they got this here. So especially if Drew Lock isn't playing. Like, the big problem is Drew Lock in garbage time, and if that's gone, I feel better about it. So
I have one more about that game. If you can find it on a book, if you can play this, I would go first half team total under. If there is a book that has that for Denver, because that team does not start off well. I've
been looking at it and trying to find it because it's not on the board yet on Bet365. Like, it's still not on the board.
I don't know if they have first half team unders on Bet365, but if they do, that's a look. And you can avoid the comeback shit in the end.
They do, because they have them from almost every other team, but for some reason that one's not on the board. I think it's because they're having so much problem with how bad the Broncos are when they start. So I think trouble putting that number there. But yeah, that's something to look at because, again, they've started so poorly. If you don't want to take the Dolphins and you don't trust them, like, you can definitely trust that the Broncos aren't going to get off to a hot start with an injured Drew Lock, and probably not getting off to a hot start with Rick Rippon. Or Ripon, however the hell you say it.
Rippon.
But yeah, that's it for me. I got these three. Hopefully we can get back into the win column, because like that last week was just painful. Like, you know what I mean? Finally broke out of it the week before, and then that DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. Tony, what do you got this week?
Why are the Broncos going to win this week?
Because
Broncos,
everyone in the Dolphins are like the most bet on team right now. This week, everyone's taking the Dolphins, so this would be the week that they win. Is when no one expects them to. But I'm not putting my stamp on it. I'm going to stay away. I'm leaning Arizona because Seattle's super banged up. Their top two corners are out. Lockett's banged up. Who knows if he'll be a decoy or not? He only got a limited practice in this week yesterday. But the one I like the worst team in football this week. The New York Jets are playing the Chargers. They're getting 10 points, and we know the Chargers. They don't blow teams out. So the Jets have they've been a little feisty recently. So I like the Jets +10.
The number shot up today. I think it was like +8 earlier.
It got down
it shot up. Yeah,
it got down to 8.5, and then it's back to 10. And
what was the injury report like today? Usually that's what happens on Wednesdays and Thursdays. First injury reports come out.
I think Bosa's going to be back this week.
It's the damn Jets. Maybe
they cut a couple of corners.
So why do I think Flacco's playing?
He's playing. Flacco's starting.
That's why it's. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
that was known before, though.
That
was known before.
Well, they were talking about Darnold like he was making progress. So
Flacco looked pretty decent last week.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I knew Flacco.
Elite?
The guy, of course.
100%. It's been established.
Super Bowl champion.
So, wait, is that the only play? Is that the only play this week?
Is that the only official play, or are you going with the... Because you mentioned the Seahawks, or the Cardinals.
Arizona. You know what? Sure. Let's go. Arizona.
What's the number at?
Money line's +130.
All right, then.
All right. Tony, fantasy advice for the week. I know you got something for us.
We got to talk about a guy who we're going to be talking about for many Sundays, for many years, for a long period of time. A guy that the Colts have been looking for forever. This guy, Michael Pittman Jr., the second-round pick, 34 overall from USC. Come up before the year started as a guy to watch later on in drafts, and he had a bit of a slow start.
Got hurt.
Harris Campbell had the big start, was the young guy who had the big start. But Campbell's out now. T.Y. is not the same. And the tight end group, there's just so many of them that none of them have taken over.
That's
but Michael Pittman on Thursday, he did take over. He had 116 yards, 7 catches. He had a huge game, even had a 20-yard run on a reverse. This guy's talent is huge. The team is in love with him. His opportunities are going to be sky high the rest of the year. And let me tell you what his schedule is going to be to close out the year. And it's very nice. They got Green Bay this week, and that's probably the toughest matchup he has. They have Houston. They have Vegas. They have Houston again. They have Pittsburgh, and then Jacksonville to close out the year.
Pittsburgh's
Yeah.
Their DBs aren't the greatest, but like that defense is so good that could be a problem. But yeah, no, like you're not wrong. Michael Pittman was highly touted, and since he's been healthy, he's been pretty good. So if you can get him somehow, that would probably be hell of a play. If someone dropped him, if people weren't sure when he got hurt and they didn't have room, especially with COVID and guys needing room on their IRs, that's definitely a dude to jump on.
Yeah, 34% rostered right now. And another guy, Kansas City Chiefs offense is even better because Sammy Watkins is back. And he's now available in a lot of leagues. The number's going up now, 45%. So, I mean, Sammy Watkins, if you want a guy with upside on your team, then pick him up.
All right. Do we have any more plays for this week, boys?
No.
All right. That's been the Toronto on Tilt Football Podcast, Week 11. You can find us at our website, torontoontilt.com. You can find us on Twitter at TorontoOnTilt. Video for this is on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, share with your friends. That's always fun. Also, the audio for this is available literally everywhere. Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to it. You'll get us weekly. Yeah, that's it. We're here. We got to hopefully rebound because DeAndre Hopkins wasn't nice to me. I'm not letting that go. I'm never letting that go. That was painful. But until next week, see you guys later.